Welcome to FYIVT, your inside source for news and in-depth analysis on what's really happening in Vermont. We want to start by saying thank you to all our listeners and supporters. Your continued encouragement fuels our mission to dig deeper and bring light to critical issues that shape our communities. We couldn't do this without you. Today, we're diving into our article titled The Future Vermont Economy. This is part 2 of our exploration into what Vermont's economic future could look like. If you missed part 1, no worries. Each episode stands on its own, but together, they paint a bigger picture of Vermont's challenges and opportunities. Now today, we're diving into an exciting question. Could Vermont create its own version of Silicon Valley? Could we harness the innovation and wealth of the tech industry to stabilize and grow our economy, all while staying true to Vermont's unique character? Let's explore that idea together. Think about Vermont for a moment. We're known for our breathtaking landscapes, clean air, and outdoor lifestyle. It's a great place to live, but are we making the most of our potential? What if we could turn those natural advantages into economic ones? Imagine a Vermont where tech companies thrive, employees earn good wages, and local farms sell more produce than ever because tech workers are spending their dollars on locally sourced food. It's a big vision, but it's not entirely out of reach. So let's start unpacking it. In today's world, work-life balance, sustainability, and remote work are more important than ever. Vermont offers all of those in spades. Many tech workers dream of a lifestyle where they can go hiking after work, avoid long commutes, and live in communities that prioritize environmental health. That dream was supercharged during the pandemic, when remote work showed millions of people that they don't have to live in big cities to succeed. And Vermont? We're just a few hours from Boston and New York. That's close enough for tech companies to stay connected to major markets while enjoying a quieter, greener home base. Add to that the incredible talent pool from universities like MIT, Harvard, Dartmouth, and of course, our very own University of Vermont. What if we built the infrastructure to draw that talent here? I'm talking about tech parks, co-working spaces, and incubators that could help small startups become big successes, all while calling Vermont home. And here's where it gets really interesting. What would that mean for other industries, like agriculture? Picture this: well-paid tech workers who are excited to spend their disposable income on locally sourced meats, cheeses, and produce. They might shop at farmers markets, join CSAs, or dine at farm-to-table restaurants. That demand could be a real boon for Vermont's farmers, creating a beautiful symbiosis between tech and agriculture. It's an economic ecosystem where everybody wins. But of course, nothing is ever that simple, is it? First, let's talk about the upside. A thriving tech industry could bring higher wage jobs to Vermont, raising the median income and lifting living standards across the board. It would also mean more tax revenue for the state, which could be reinvested in infrastructure, public services, and education, all without putting a bigger burden on taxpayers. And let's not forget population growth. Young workers, especially those in tech, might see Vermont as an ideal place to live and work. That could help us tackle one of our biggest challenges, our aging population. More people means more demand for housing, businesses, and services, which all spur economic activity. And then there's rural revitalization. Think about the towns that have struggled for decades with population loss and economic stagnation. Tech hubs or remote work clusters could breathe new life into those communities, spreading growth more evenly across the state. Finally, we could see some fascinating cross-industry innovation. Imagine Vermont leading the way in ag tech, clean energy, or sustainable resource management. What if the tech industry worked hand in hand with our traditional sectors to create new solutions and new markets? The potential is incredible. But, and you knew there was a but coming, there are real challenges too. Let's start with workforce availability. Vermont's small population is one of our charms, but it's also a hurdle. Do we have enough people to fill the jobs a tech boom would create? Or would we need to invest heavily in workforce development? Things like coding boot camps, tech education, or retraining programs. And then there's infrastructure. Broadband access is still a major issue, especially in rural areas. Without it, we can't attract tech companies, plain and simple. And beyond the internet, We'd need better transportation and energy systems to support new growth. And here's a tough one: the cost of living. A tech boom might mean higher wages for some, but it could also drive up housing costs and make Vermont less affordable for others. We'd have to manage that very carefully to avoid displacing people or creating new economic inequalities. Finally, there's the balancing act between growth and preservation. Vermont has always been a place where the environment comes first. How do we grow our economy without compromising that ethos? It's not an easy question, but it's one we'd have to answer if we want to keep Vermont, well, Vermont. So what's the takeaway? Could Vermont become a Silicon Valley of New England? Maybe not in the same way California did, but we could create something uniquely our own. By leveraging our natural beauty, environmental values, and proximity to major cities, we have the tools to attract tech companies and build a thriving tech sector. And if we do it right, it could diversify our economy, create higher-paying jobs, and help us keep our younger workers here. But it won't be easy. We'll need to invest in workforce development, infrastructure, and smart growth policies to make sure everyone benefits, not just a select few. If we can thread that needle, though, Vermont could have a very bright economic future, one that's sustainable, resilient, and, most importantly, uniquely Vermont. Thank you for listening to this episode of FYIVT. To read the full article and explore more on what's happening in Vermont and how the state works, visit us at FYIVT.com. We appreciate your support and look forward to continuing to bring you important perspectives on Vermont's most pressing issues. Until next time.